Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever thought that a familiar space like a cafe or restaurant could be the scene of unexpected traffic accidents? Today, we'll be observing some rare collisions where vehicles suddenly lose control and crash into shops. These moments remind us to always be observant of our surroundings in daily life. If you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications to stay updated on my next videos. Leave your comments below. Let's get started. In Turkey, the incident did not happen in the middle of heavy traffic, but right on the sidewalk beside a shop. A vehicle suddenly lost control, left the road, and crashed toward the area where the shop owner was sleeping. At that moment, the shop owner was not driving, crossing the street, or involved in any traffic situation. He was simply resting in a familiar place of his own. That is what made the incident so unpredictable, because danger does not always stop at the edge of the road. Sidewalks are often seen as a safety buffer between pedestrians and moving vehicles, but when a car leaves its path, that distance can disappear in an instant. This incident shows that in neighborhoods with shops, homes, and pedestrians, controlling speed is far more important than many people often realize. A school bus in Honduras was traveling down the road when it experienced a problem with its braking system. For a vehicle carrying many children, this is the kind of situation that would worry anyone, because the brakes are what determine whether a driver can slow down and stop safely. When the brakes are no longer working properly, the driver is placed under enormous pressure. Every stretch of road ahead, every curve, and every vehicle nearby becomes something that must be handled quickly and precisely. On a school bus, the driver's calmness is important, but the vehicle's mechanical condition matters even more. School transportation happens every day, so it can easily be seen as something routine. But that routine is exactly why regular vehicle inspections are so necessary. A bus carrying children needs more than punctuality. It needs to be safe before the journey even begins. Footage from a surveillance camera in Russia begins like an ordinary scene until a sudden, large explosion appears in the frame. Moments later, flames erupt, the surrounding area falls into chaos, and people nearby are forced to quickly move away from danger. This was not a traffic accident in the usual sense, but it still directly affected the space where people were moving. When an explosion happens near a street, a residential area, or a place where vehicles are passing through, people nearby can suddenly be pulled into a dangerous situation they never saw coming. Security camera footage like this often reminds viewers just how quickly unexpected incidents can unfold. There is not much time to analyze the situation or stand around out of curiosity. Whenever there is fire, smoke, or the sound of an explosion, creating a safe distance should always come first. What do you think about the way people reacted in moments like these? Leave a comment below and share your perspective with us. If you find these safety reminders helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel right now. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you won't miss more real-life documentary footage and important safety lessons coming up next. Thank you for watching, and now let's move on to the next story. Heavy rain at an airport in Brazil came with winds so strong that part of the roof was torn loose. For the people there, the danger did not only come from the bad weather, but also from structural pieces being affected by the force of the wind. An airport is always a place with constant movement, passengers pulling luggage, employees working, and vehicles coming and going. When strong winds begin damaging a canopy or roof structure, every area underneath can quickly become risky. A falling object or something suddenly blown loose by the wind can put anyone standing nearby in danger. During extreme weather, the feeling of safety inside large buildings can sometimes make people less cautious. But heavy rain and powerful winds can change everything very quickly. In that moment, the most important thing is not to keep rushing forward, but to stay away from areas that may be damaged and find a stronger, safer place to shelter. The afternoon at a Nothing Bundt Cakes bakery in Atascocita seemed to be unfolding like any other day. Inside the store, employees were working, customers were stopping by to buy cakes, and outside, a vehicle was in the parking area. But after one wrong movement, the car suddenly drove straight into the front of the bakery, completely shattering that ordinary scene. According to reported information, the 77-year-old driver is believed to have pressed the gas pedal by mistake while trying to park. The crash killed Zion Branch, a 19-year-old employee of the store at the scene. Another customer was also injured and taken to the hospital in stable condition.
He was able to go home. Zion wasn't. Know what actually happened.
What makes this incident especially striking is not only that a vehicle crashed into a store that was open for business, but also how fragile ordinary moments can be. A young employee was simply working behind the counter, while a customer had only stopped by to buy a cake. None of them could have known that an incident from the parking area could unfold so suddenly. In Rosenberg, Texas, a meal at a Denny's restaurant was suddenly interrupted by a rare crash. An SUV drove through the restaurant wall late in the morning, throwing the people seated inside into an unexpected situation. After the impact, the vehicle ended up deep inside the dining area, leaving behind a chaotic scene. Rosenberg police said the incident happened at around 11:22 a.m. on September 4, 2023, after they received multiple emergency calls. A total of 23 people were injured when the vehicle crashed into the restaurant. Several of them had to be taken to the hospital for treatment after the incident. In places like restaurants, customers are usually focused on their food, their order, and the conversation right in front of them. So when a vehicle suddenly breaks through a wall, everything becomes extremely unpredictable. The incident at Denny's shows that spaces located close to the road need to be viewed with greater caution, especially when a parking lot or traffic lane is right next to an area where many people are seated. Some videos draw attention not because they are carefully staged, but because they capture a moment no one ever wanted to experience. In Houston, podcaster Nathan Reeves was conducting an interview inside Tout Sweet Coffee Shop when a Chevrolet Tahoe suddenly crashed straight through the glass near where they were sitting. Just before the incident happened, the atmosphere inside the cafe still seemed fairly normal, but only seconds later, the glass shattered and the SUV slammed into the area close to the interview table, forcing everyone nearby to react quickly. Houston police said no one was injured in the incident, even though the footage shows the vehicle crashing extremely close to the people who were filming. What makes this case stand out is that the entire moment was captured on camera while the conversation was still happening. Viewers can clearly see the contrast between a quiet recording session and a sudden incident from outside. It turns the story into more than just a vehicle crashing into a coffee shop. It becomes an everyday reminder that risk can appear even in places that seem completely safe. If you also feel relieved for the people involved after watching this moment, please support the channel by giving this video a like and hitting subscribe. What do you think about their reaction in that situation? Leave a comment below and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you can keep watching more incident breakdowns from us. A food video shoot at Kuvi's Culinary Creations in Houston turned into an experience that influencers Nina Santiago and Patrick Blackwood would not soon forget. While the two were seated inside the restaurant, filming, a black SUV suddenly crashed through the glass near where they were sitting. Shards of glass flew through the air, the dining table was thrown into disarray, and the dramatic moment quickly spread across social media. The incident happened on August 17, 2025. According to published reports, the SUV crashed into the restaurant while the driver was arriving for a private party and reportedly believed the vehicle was in park. Both Nina Santiago and Patrick Blackwood were injured and had to go to the hospital, but they survived the crash. The restaurant owner said the driver passed a sobriety test. What made this video draw so much attention is that everything happened while the camera was already rolling. At first, it was just a normal food-related video, but in a split second, the setting turned into a real dangerous situation. Even so, the story should be told with the right balance. This was not a moment to exploit for shock value, but an unintended traffic incident that directly affected the people inside the restaurant. Inside a Kroger supermarket in Athens, Georgia, the self-checkout area is usually where customers stop for their final few minutes before leaving the store. But at the time of the incident, that familiar space was suddenly disrupted when a silver Toyota crashed straight inside, heading toward the self-checkout machines. The impact left one Kroger employee trapped between the vehicle and the checkout area. 3 other people were also injured in the incident, but according to authorities, their injuries were not life-threatening. What caught many people's attention was that the vehicle did not just strike the outside of the supermarket. It went deep into the exact area where employees and customers were standing nearby. The incident at Kroger shows that risk can sometimes appear in the most ordinary places. People may be shopping, checking out, or getting ready to leave, never imagining that a vehicle from outside could enter the store so quickly. At Taco Tiki restaurant in Jensen Beach, Florida, many diners were having an ordinary evening when a golf cart suddenly crashed into the dining area. This was not a large car on a public road, but a small vehicle often seen at resorts, golf courses, or coastal communities. That made the incident even more surprising for everyone there. The golf cart crashed into several tables where customers were seated, leaving a number of people injured. Among them, one victim suffered a serious pelvic injury and had to be rushed to the hospital. The driver was later accused of careless driving causing injury. According to initial information, she was not found to be intoxicated, but she said she was not familiar with operating that golf cart. This moment reminds viewers that large vehicles are not the only ones that can create danger in crowded spaces. When any vehicle loses control and crashes into a dining area, the distance between a normal evening and a serious incident can be only a few feet. In Las Cruces, New Mexico, a shopping trip at a Savers store turned chaotic when an SUV suddenly crashed through the front of the building. According to police, the 69-year-old female driver is believed to have pressed the gas pedal instead of the brake while parking, causing the Ford Explorer to drive straight inside. The crash injured 15 people. Many of them had to be taken to the hospital, and a 67-year-old woman later passed away. Those affected included both customers and employees, people who were simply inside the store on what seemed like any ordinary shopping day. What makes this incident especially notable is that the vehicle did not stop right after breaking through the front glass. It continued deeper into the shopping area. In a space where many people are standing close together, one wrong move while parking can create consequences far greater than the driver may ever imagine. That morning, the Apple Store at Derby Street Shops in Hingham, Massachusetts was open like any other day. Inside were employees, customers, product display tables, and the familiar large glass storefront. But in an instant, a Toyota 4Runner crashed through the front glass and drove straight into the interior space. The crash left one person dead and many others injured. The driver was later arrested and charged. According to information from authorities, the driver said his foot got stuck on the gas pedal before the vehicle crashed into the store. While the specific cause was handled through the investigation and legal process, the image of the SUV sitting inside the Apple Store drew widespread attention. The incident in Hingham was especially unsettling because it happened in a bright, modern, and crowded shopping space. A place designed for customers to walk in and experience products suddenly became the scene of a serious traffic accident. In your opinion, should stores located next to parking lots in busy shopping areas like this be equipped with additional barriers or other protective measures at the front? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you believe this story deserves more attention, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you can continue following more real-life situations that are unexpected, thought-provoking, and worth discussing in our upcoming videos. In Gießen, a city north of Frankfurt, the incident began on the road but ended at a bus stop. A 32-year-old driver reportedly collided with two vehicles traveling in the same direction, then continued toward a nearby bus stop area. 3 people were injured in the incident, including one who suffered serious injuries. The driver was later arrested while the exact cause remained under investigation. A bus stop is a place where people usually stand still, wait for public transportation, and rarely imagine they could be pulled into an accident from the roadway. That is why, when a vehicle loses direction and heads toward this area, the people waiting there have very little time to react. The incident in Gießen does not need to be told in a sensational way to still hold viewers' attention. It is notable because it happened in such an ordinary place, a bus stop, a few people waiting to travel, and a vehicle suddenly leaving the familiar flow of traffic. Early that morning in Whittier, a group of Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department recruits were running in formation during a training exercise. It was a familiar activity for law enforcement trainees, but that morning's run was interrupted when an SUV crossed into the opposite lane and crashed into the group running along the road. The incident left many recruits injured. Among them, Alejandro Martinez was seriously hurt and passed away about 8 months later after receiving treatment. According to later information from prosecutors, the driver, Nicolas Gutierrez, pleaded guilty in connection with the crash. Authorities said he had fallen asleep while driving. What makes this story so heavy is that the group of recruits was not facing a dangerous assignment or involved in a pursuit. They were simply running during a morning training session. The incident shows how just one moment of losing control on the road can affect many people at the same time. On North Central Expressway in Dallas, dashcam footage captured a chain reaction crash involving 6 vehicles. According to police, a Chevrolet Corvette and a Lamborghini were reportedly traveling at high speed before the crash happened. After the impact, multiple vehicles were affected, traffic turned chaotic, and 4 people suffered minor injuries. The incident drew widespread attention because of its connection to NFL player Rashee Rice. According to reports, the Lamborghini had been rented by Rice, while the Corvette was also believed to be connected to him. Rice later publicly took responsibility for his role in the crash. What stands out here is that everything happened on a busy expressway, with many vehicles moving at the same time. When high speed is involved in heavy traffic, one initial impact can pull several other cars into the situation within seconds. The dashcam footage shows just how quickly a roadway incident can spread. In Częstochowa, Poland, surveillance footage at a railroad crossing captured an Opel Zafira entering the tracks, even though the red warning signal was active. The vehicle stopped for a brief moment, then continued forward onto the tracks just as a freight train was approaching. The impact pushed the car a long distance along the rails. The 2 people inside, identified as teenagers aged 19 and 16, were seriously injured and had to be removed from the vehicle by rescue crews. The incident also caused major disruption to rail operations in the area. Unlike crashes involving vehicles entering stores or restaurants, this case happened at the intersection between a roadway and a railway, where just one poorly timed decision can lead to serious consequences. With a freight train, the stopping distance is far longer than that of a car, so once a vehicle is already on the tracks, there is very little chance to avoid a collision. At railroad crossings, what do you think matters more, the driver's awareness and observation, or the safety warning system in that area? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you believe real-life situations like this are worth learning from, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next stories. In the village of Kvasuliv in Ukraine's Rivne Oblast region, a minibus was passing through a railroad crossing when it collided with a train on the Rivne-to-Zdolbuniv line. In situations like this, the distance between safety and danger can sometimes be measured in only a few seconds because a train can almost never stop immediately after detecting an obstacle ahead. The impact severely damaged the minibus, leaving at least 4 people dead and several others injured. The railroad crossing area then became a place where authorities had to respond quickly to carry out rescue efforts, inspect the scene, and determine the cause. The incident in Kvasuliv shows that railroad crossings always require absolute caution. For passengers inside a minibus, it may seem like just a short stretch of road to pass through, but when a train is approaching, every decision at a crossing leaves very little room for correction. Near the town of Tinglev in southern Denmark, a passenger train collided with a vehicle at a railroad crossing. The train had been traveling on its normal schedule, but in a single moment, an incident at the crossing disrupted the entire journey. After the collision, several train cars derailed, making the scene far more complicated. 1 person was killed and about 20 others were injured. For the passengers on board, this was a situation they could hardly have expected when they stepped onto that train. At railroad crossings like this, every warning signal carries life or death importance. When a vehicle appears on the tracks at the wrong moment, a train does not have the same ability to maneuver as a car or motorcycle. That is why just one careless moment can lead to serious consequences for many people. In Meter in the Netherlands, a truck ended up in a dangerous situation at a railroad crossing as a passenger train was approaching. Whether the vehicle was stuck or moved at the wrong moment, the result was a powerful collision between the train and the large vehicle on the tracks. The truck was heavily destroyed after being struck by the train. On board the train, several passengers suffered minor injuries from the sudden force of the impact. Fortunately, the incident did not lead to more serious casualties, but the scene was still enough to show the major risks at crossings where roads and railways meet. For a truck, crossing railroad tracks requires more space and more time than a smaller vehicle. If the driver misjudges the distance, stops in the wrong position, or fails to clear the tracks in time, the situation can become extremely difficult to control. A moving train cannot brake within just a few feet, and that is why every railroad crossing must be checked carefully before crossing. In the Dai Xuyen area of Phu Xuyen District, Hanoi, a car attempted to cross a railroad crossing just as the SE6 train was approaching. Within only a few seconds, the vehicle was struck by the train and severely deformed. This is the kind of scene that often makes viewers watching surveillance footage hold their breath because everything happens so fast. Fortunately, the driver managed to get out of the car before the impact occurred. Because of that, the incident did not become a human tragedy, even though the vehicle was nearly destroyed after being hit by the train. At the scene, the damage to the car showed just how powerful the impact from the train had been. Local railroad crossings are often familiar to nearby residents, but that familiarity can sometimes make drivers less cautious. When a train is already approaching, trying to cross just to save a few seconds can put a driver in a situation with no way back. In Ocean Township, New Jersey, heavy rain caused a section of the roof of BJ's Wholesale Club on Route 35 to suddenly collapse. 27 people were inside the store at the time. Many were shopping as usual when rainwater, debris, and structural elements from above poured down. 2 people were initially trapped in the rubble, but managed to free themselves. Fortunately, there were no casualties. However, the scene inside the store after the roof collapse remains a cause for concern, as it's a place where customers usually feel safe sheltering from the rain or shopping in bad weather. Unlike typical road collisions, this incident stemmed from extreme weather conditions and structural issues. Heavy rain not only makes roads slippery and hinders traffic, but can also put pressure on roofs, drainage systems, and crowded areas. In such circumstances, moving away from areas showing signs of leaks, cracks, or unusual noises can help people avoid unnecessary risks. What do you think about the need for more thorough inspections of crowded buildings like supermarkets, airports, and shopping malls during stormy weather? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this video gave you a thought-provoking perspective on the risks that can occur in daily life, please like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to join us for more stories. In Barneveld, New York, snow had built up so heavily on the roof of a fire station that it placed enormous pressure on the entire structure underneath. In the recorded footage, the roof suddenly collapsed, bringing down a large section of the building within just a few seconds. This was an especially unusual situation because it happened at a fire station, a place normally associated with emergency response and protecting the community. But in extreme weather conditions, even familiar buildings can be affected if the amount of snow exceeds the roof's load-bearing capacity. Fortunately, no one was injured in this incident. Even so, the moment the roof collapsed shows that heavy snow does not only disrupt traffic or daily life, it can also create serious risks for buildings, especially when snow builds up over a long period of time without being cleared in time. When Hurricane Milton swept through Florida, Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg became one of the most widely discussed images after the storm. Powerful winds tore apart sections of the stadium's roof, exposing a large open space inside a structure that is normally fully covered. From an aerial view, multiple sections of the roof could be seen ripped away, clearly revealing the field below. Tropicana Field is not only a sports venue, but also a massive structure located in an area directly affected by extreme weather. As the storm passed through, the wind placed intense pressure on the roof, changing almost the entire outside appearance of the stadium. This incident shows that major hurricanes do not only cause flooding or bring down trees. They can also damage large-scale structures. In areas under storm warnings, it is extremely important to stay away from stadiums, warehouses, wide canopies, or buildings with large exposed surfaces, because wind can create forces far stronger than many people imagine. In Shanxi Province, China, a vehicle's dashcam captured the moment a large section of steel roofing was torn from a building by strong winds. Within just a few seconds, the sheet of roofing was blown across the road and fell into an area where vehicles were moving. The scene in the footage makes it easy for viewers to understand just how powerful the wind was at that moment. A large sheet of steel, once part of a building, was carried away like a lightweight object and dropped right into the flow of traffic. Several vehicles on the road were affected, but fortunately, no one was injured. This incident was different from a typical traffic accident because the danger did not come from a driving mistake, but from an object being carried by the weather. When strong winds appear near buildings, signs, metal roofing, or aging structures, people on the road can still face danger even while driving in the correct lane and at the proper speed. The incidents we have just seen show that risk can always appear from everyday situations where vehicles or surrounding conditions suddenly go out of control. What is your opinion on this issue? Leave a comment below so we can discuss it together. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell to join me in the next videos. And right now, if you want to see how overlooked vehicle maintenance issues can lead to unexpected situations, click the video on the screen to keep exploring. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, and I'll see you next time.